What's up? What's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
What's up, you guys? I am Ashley Denmark, and this is my handsome husband, Antonio Denmark. We are your expert narrators. We are your coaches for REI Decoded. We are super elated that you guys are joining us today. We can't wait to dive in and really show you what creative financing has done for us, what creative financing has done for a few of our friends. You ready?
Let's go. One thing I will say is make sure y'all like the video. Make sure you share. If you have somebody that's interested in getting in real estate, invite them to the group.
Invite them
so
to
they
the
can
group.
get these trainings that we are doing. These trainings are absolutely free, and they can help people get off the sideline.
Yes, that's our main goal with REI Decoded. It's to help more people conquer their fears, help more people navigate the world of real estate without being scared and just doing it, just achieving those goals. What's up, you guys?
So one of our initiative is we want to start touching more people in different states. So if you tell us where you're from, if you're from Birmingham, you can put Birmingham. But if you're not from Birmingham, let us know where you're checking in from.
Yeah, let's do a check-in.
Georgia, Florida, Tennessee. Like the group has a lot of different people that's coming, and we want to start making some trainings that are, I can't say
that are directly oriented for your market. Yeah.
So in order to do that, we got to kind of know where y'all coming from.
Yeah. So tell us in the chat real quick before we start. Tell us where. Okay, Texas. What's up, Texas? Let's go. We were just talking to some friends this morning that invest in Birmingham that are from Texas, and they honestly hate the Birmingham market compared to Texas.
They do. They are like sick and tired of the Birmingham market. Like when I tell you sick and tired,
they are
sick and tired. All right. One of the things that we're gonna jump off with is we're going to kind of show you a quick snapshot of the power of creative financing. And this is one of our students that's in X Flipper Academy, and they just made this post a couple days ago. So before we get into the training, we're gonna kind of show you the power and the mental that can be possible if you surround yourself with the right people and if you understand the right tools to pull out of your tool belt.
If you don't know what X Flipper Academy is, X Flipper Academy is our group where it's our mentorship where we help individuals get off the sideline, get into the game, and start investing in real estate. And we teach them step by step exactly what to do, from rehabbing, financing, just everything they need to know, and walk them step by step through. So this post says, I can't read it from there because it's too small, so I'm going to read it from here. It says, hey, X Flipper family, just wanted to give you guys an update on the status of our second flip. We rescued a home out of foreclosure and purchased it subject to, ran into some snags with the title work, and discovered there were several encumbrances that would cause our gap funder to be in the 7th lien position. We're up against 4 mortgages and 2 judgments. We still decided to move forward because we know how much equity is in the property. The gap funder, unfortunately, no longer felt comfortable, understandable, and backed out. Through the relationships and trust we've built with past clients working in real estate, we secured the same $50,000 and an additional $10,000 for a total of $60,000 in gap funding wired to us in less than 24 hours. Not only did we secure more money and more favorable terms for us, we also now have long-term investors and picked up another quick deal that will also be using some of the funds we secured to gap fund somebody else's project. The moral of the story is get the deal and stop worrying and overanalyzing how you're going to pay for it. If the deal is good enough, the money ain't hard to find. We're all in at $0 of our own money and should net conservatively $68,000 from this deal. Not gross, but we should net.
That's the power of creative finance.
That's the power, you guys.
So we just kind of want to show you the power before we get into it, so that you kind of understand the things that creative financing can do for you in your situation.
Absolutely.
They got a deal. They're in a deal with none of their own money, and they looking to make at least $60,000 net conservative.
And not only are they in it with any of their own money, they were able to use skills that they acquired, skills that they were trained to have, just like you're being trained right here today. They were able to use that to help someone out of a tough situation, out of foreclosure. So this family is not going to have a foreclosure because they were able to rescue them, even with all of the mortgages and judgments that they have. They're still going to be able to help this family out. And that right there is a win-win on so many levels.
Let's go. Give me a win in
Give
the
me a
chat.
win in the chat if y'all ready. Come on.
If you feel like that was a win-win, give me a win, man. Let me know y'all that.
Let's go.
I think my Birmingham people tap in too. I did see y'all while Ashley was reading. All right, let's go. Let's dive into it. What's up, family? You know, one of these days she gonna get it right. Well, I'm gonna see some names and not Facebook user, but we ain't gonna trip about that right now. We're gonna get it right one day.
That's not a part of my. That's not a part of my job. Nashville, come on, Nashville.
Tap in, Nashville.
Let's go, Tennessee.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. So some of the benefits when it comes to creative financing is there's untraditional access to funding. There's like an unlimited supply of funding at that time because you are structuring it the way that works best for you.
All right, so I got to stop you. All right. The reason that we got to fix Facebook user is because people gonna think it's fake people on here. So we need to put some names with these Facebook users so that they know that these people are real.
I was flowing right then.
I'm sorry, but it just
let it stay for later. All right, y'all. So you get to structure these deals. There's flexibility when it comes to these deals. There's little to no out of pocket costs with Sean's deal. They actually first they came to the table to stop it so that it wouldn't go to foreclosure. They came with $13,000 to stop it, but the gap funder reimbursed everything to them. You can customize the terms. You can decide what those terms are going to be, how they're going to look. You get higher profits than traditional financing because the financing is all in place. Somebody said, I am as real as I can be. I promise. Thank you. And then you have the ability to solve problems to help more people. And I know the money sounds good. The money is amazing, you guys. But ultimately, we are put on this earth to help God's people, to help more people. So if you can be a blessing to others, that is that is number one in real estate. The more people you bless, the more blessings will come your way. I promise you.
And it's going to sound crazy, but all of the creative financing deals we've done from a purchase side has been to help somebody. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't necessarily because of the money. It was they was in a bad situation and they needed help. So like if I had to start over, I would just only look for creative financing deals. If I didn't have a system and the structure that I had in place right now, because there's a lot of money in those situations. But the ones we've done that they've kind of come to us with situations and we've solved problems.
You become a problem solver, and it feels good to be that problem solver, but it feels even better to see people not have to deal with the situations that they're running from or hiding from. This live is brought to you today by Cookout.
It is not sponsored by Cookout.
All right. So different ways that you can structure creative finance deals is one, subject to. That's exactly what the Stones did. They did a subject to deal. A second one is one that we use all the time, which is lease optioning. And then the third one is seller financing. All right. These are your three main ways of creatively structuring deals to buy. We're not talking about to sell. We're talking about more so to buy.
Acquisition side.
The acquisition side. Absolutely. So a subject to. A property gets deeded over with all of the existing finance in place. All right. The investor, they get control of the house. They are a part of the deed. They can add gap funds. Just so everybody know, when we say gap funds, we're talking about a private investor, someone that is coming in to give the down payment, closing costs, and if there needs to be a startup rehab, the startup of the rehab. But they're given that gap between what's in financing and what's needed to get the deal done. All right. So what's already financed and what's needed. So you can do that with a subject to because you are on title. And then you have to continue making the monthly payments while you're subject to in the property on behalf of the seller.
All right, lease options. Lease option is our most common one because our whole ex-flipper method is based off the lease option on the disposition side, but you can also use it to acquire properties. Okay, in a lease option, the seller allows the tenant buyer to rent the property for a
specific time frame.
I can't say that word right, y'all, so don't laugh at me. At the end of that time frame, the buyer has the option to purchase. And we'll go into more details a little later, but just that's the base of a lease option.
All right. And then seller finance. Seller finance is when the owner has no existing liens or mortgages in place and they become the bank and they are owner financing it to you or to someone. And then from there you take over and you can use it as investment. You can use it however you please, honestly.
The seller becomes the bank.
The seller becomes the bank.
And as always, man, if y'all have questions, y'all ask y'all questions. If we say a term you don't understand, y'all make sure y'all drop it in there because a lot of times it be terms because us real estate folks, we'll term you to death. All right. So understand if
real one estate of them slip out, will use a lot of
if terms. One of them slip out and you don't quite understand, just say it because we try to break it down to the lowest common denominator, but sometimes we don't do the best job.
Absolutely. All right. So some of the benefits when it comes to doing a subject to is one, the financing in place. So you don't have to worry about what your credit score is. You don't have to worry about making sure you have your DTI is in line. You don't have to worry about any of those factors because the financing is already in place.
You don't worry about if you got bankruptcy, if you got
foreclosures. You can still do a deal. Let me say that. Okay. Yes. Please understand you can still invest in real estate if you have a terrible past.
Facts.
Okay? All right. So financing is in place. You get control with ownership because you are on the deed. You're not on the mortgage. You are on the deed. And you can't add a gap lender because at that point you're on the deed. The closing is really quick. You just want to make sure title is clear. Ideally, you want to make sure that there's no other liens and encumbrances. However, if there is, you want to make sure that they're not continuing to gain interest. You want to make sure they're either fixed or you can quickly pay them off. You want to make sure they're little and there's still enough skin in the game for still not skin in the game, still enough meat on the bone for you to make some money and not lose on the deal. There's tax benefits. As you are paying, you're paying interest for that client, for that customer,
back up. Stop. We're getting as you're paying.
Go ahead. Go with the tax benefits.
Tax benefits. So one of the biggest tax benefits is interest payment. So if you're making the payment on the loan, you get those interest payments deducted on your taxes because you're making those payments. Technically, the tenant gonna make those payments if you have a tenant, but those are good tax benefits to help offset your W-2 income, or if you are a 1099 worker, those things help you offset income.
In our experience, a lot of the houses that we have subject to, they're not paying as much interest as they're paying principal. Mm-hmm. So usually if they're paying a lot of principal, you're paying down that loan pretty quickly and you are forcing appreciation into the property where it may not have much, but as you have it, you're forcing that appreciation. So now you owe less to the mortgage, but it's worth more.
Yeah.
All right. Some downsides when it comes to buying on the subject to.
I do this.
Go ahead.
All right. If it gets foreclosed on, it will appear in the title search. So understand that if you are on the deed of a property, and let me break that down a little bit. So understand that when you buy a property, there are two instruments that are recorded, two main instruments. There's a mortgage and there's a deed. So understand when you do a subject to, you become a part of the deed. I mean, you have ownership of the property. So if a foreclosure happens, because you're on the deed, that foreclosure will appear under your name in a title search. Now, it might not report on your credit report, but it will come up in a title search. So that's important to know. That's important information to understand that there's a difference between recording a mortgage and recording a deed. All right. The owner can file for bankruptcy. So if they file for bankruptcy, there's a chance that that property can be included. Even if they don't have ownership, they can throw that property in there. Now, it could be a fight and you have rights, but a downside of it is if the owner filed for bankruptcy, they could put it in there. There's what's called a due on sales clause. All right. And what a due on sales clause means that if the mortgage holder has the option to say, if the deed transfers, they can call the complete loan due. So if there's $100,000 left on the mortgage and the deed is transferred, they can come and say, hey, we want all of our money in 30 days. No matter how much time is left on that mortgage, they can exercise their due on sales clause. Not to scare you, I haven't seen the due on sales clause executed. If you're making payments on time, if you are doing things right, I haven't seen it executed. Also, there are other tactics such as a trust to help with the due on sale clause.
And to help with the insurance policies and the insurance implications, making sure you are on the insurance as the owner, making sure that you you can be the beneficiary of it, but you need to have some type of ownership on file when it comes to insurance, so that if anything happens, you get paid first because you're the owner.
Yeah.
All right. All right. If this is helping you, I need y'all to go and like the post or love the post. If this is helping you right now, let me know.
Well, how they gonna know? You can't see if they like
Yes,
or
I can.
share.
Yes, I can.
How you see that?
Right here.
Okay, you can see the likes and the hearts and the stuff.
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. I like you. You got a little savvy to you.
All right. Did I talk about this yet? Okay. No. So creative financing. Let's talk about the seller finance benefits. The seller finance benefits are, the terms are negotiable. You can negotiate what your terms are going to be, how long those terms are going to be. You don't need a bank to qualify because the seller becomes the bank at that point. You get control with the ownership. You are on the deed of the house. It is very quick as long as title is clear and the owner fully owns it, doesn't have any other liens or judgments on the property. And then you get tax benefits right away because you become the homeowner. It's just like you getting a mortgage with any other bank. Just in this case, the seller becomes the bank. So you don't have to worry about having a 600 credit score, having 20,000 in the bank, having 5,000 in the bank. They're not going to look at all the things that you have that you've purchased to see if you can afford it. No, the seller at this point becomes in full control and becomes the bank.
Yeah, and a mortgage and note is created, and you're paying them every month, just like you would pay the bank.
Just like you would pay the bank.
So the downside to buy on seller finance is usually the interest rates are high because a homeowner or a seller is owner financing a property. There's usually going to be a lot higher interest rate. Most of them start at 10%. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of how it is because you don't have to have all of the other qualifications. They're going to get paid a little bit more money. There's sometimes higher down payments. So when we do owner financing, there's 10, 15, 20% down payment. So because you're not going through a traditional bank, they're getting paid more money because they're taking a higher risk on you, depending on your situation. A seller financing could sometimes have a balloon mortgage. And what a balloon mortgage is saying is that we can amortize this loan, which means make the payments for over 30 years. But in 5 years, I need all of my money. Yeah. Or there's going to be heavy penalties or there's going to be consequences.
And guess what? At 4.5 years, just go ahead and refinance and bam. Now it's or sell. Yes. That's how you get out of that. So don't get stuck on, oh my goodness, it's going to be due in 5 years. No, how much money can you make with a lower monthly payment in those first 4 years? And then you've created equity, sell it.
Yeah. Purchase at full market value. So most of the time when you're doing seller financing, you're purchasing at full market value. There is no discounts. If that house is worth $80,000, your purchase is going to be for $80,000. All right. So always keep that in mind. You probably not going to get any discounts when somebody is seller financing the property to you.
Unless it's in horrible shape and they're just trying to get up out of it, then yeah, you may get a little discount.
Don't count on it though.
Right. So creative financing with lease options. Some of the benefits are the financing is already in place. You don't have to worry about getting financing, getting bank approvals. That's all already in place. Your option fees are negotiable. The seller may want 5,000, they may want 20,000. All of that is negotiable.
They may not want nothing.
They may not want nothing. You may do $1 just to say, hey, it's done on paper. You get a quick close because you're not running title on there. If you want to, that's a plus. I would suggest you run a quick title
always
to make sure that there's no liens or anything that you don't know about, tax liens, so that when you execute your option, at that point, nothing is in this way. And then you get control, but you don't get ownership. You more so get rental ownership is what you get when you are doing
rental ownership is a combination of words that go together.
My people understand.
All right.
You get ownership as a renter.
You get control.
You get
ownership.
control as a renter, not ownership. Yeah, you're not getting any ownership.
Yeah.
When you're doing a lease option.
And the benefits of controlling the property without ownership, if anything bad happens, it doesn't go on your record. If a foreclosure happens, if a bankruptcy happens, none of that is really under your name. So you can control the property without having ownership of the property. So sometimes when you hear people doing like Airbnb, sometimes they're getting into it with
the lease option.
With a lease option, and then they'll turn around and Airbnb the property because they control the property, but they don't own the property.
Yeah. Any questions so far, you guys? Type your questions in the chat.
Now, which one y'all like the best so far?
Subject to owner financing or lease option. What's your favorite?
What's your favorite? What you think attracts?
What attracts you right now the most? And as you guys are typing that in chat, let me say we are having a free training next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. It will not be in the group. You must register to attend. If you are thinking about investing in real estate, if you're trying to figure out how to wrap that creative financing strategy all together from a lease option side, if you are trying to figure out how to buy a deal, fund a deal, find a deal, rehab it, come to the training. We're going to talk more in detail about real estate, finding, funding, and getting started, getting off that sideline and getting into the game.
Yes.
It's absolutely free, but you must register. All right. Registering is important. It's going to be next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. So all of you who are in the Central time zone is 7 p.m. For my Eastern time zone, it will be 8 p.m. for you. All right.
All right. All right. So what we're going to do is case studies next?
No.
Okay, my bad.
The downsides to a lease option is to sell it, there is a process. The owner will know how much you are selling it for because they are the owner.
There's a potential so that the owner will know how much you're selling it for. There are ways around it, but there is a potential to where the owner you're going to need the owner to sign some things to actually sell the property.
Yes. You can't add a gap funder because, again, you don't have ownership. The owner can file bankruptcy and can include in the bankruptcy while you are lease optioning it. And then the price is set. You can't pay down the mortgage. Yes. All right. So that price is set from the beginning, what that purchase price is going to be, and you have to do it from there.
So if hypothetically speaking, in a lease option, kind of give a scenario, if you agree to, I say we'll use us.
Okay.
Or you want to use Lookout?
Whichever.
Okay. So let's say that Cookout has a property and they are selling it for $100,000, $1,000 a month, $100,000 in a year. You have the option to buy that property for $100,000 in a year or before. So understand that you have a lease that you're going to pay $1,000 a month, and you have an option to buy it in a year. That price is set. That $100,000 number can't change. It can't go up or down. The only way it goes down is if the appraisal comes in lower and you want to back out of the deal at that point. But other than that, that price is set. So if there's a big appreciation jump in that year, you get the benefits as the buyer compared to the seller is locked into a price.
Absolutely. Great point. All right. So when do we use which? We have three factors when we are trying to identify, okay, are we going to buy it from subject to? Are we going to do a seller finance? Are we going to do a lease option? We have three factors. The first factor is equity. The second factor is money out of pocket. And then the third factor is the most important factor, and is what type of situation is the seller going through right now and what do they need? Because all of these sound good, but really structuring it so that it's a win-win for everyone is really important. All right. Somebody said they're most comfortable with subject twos and owner financing only because they've done them. Absolutely.
So understand now that's Mr. Burns. He is an ex-flipper icon, so he got a little advantage. But understand, people are using these strategies, y'all, and because you don't understand them, you can't get off the sideline. So remember, these are real things that real people are doing.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to do them, you guys. All right, let's talk about factor one. Factor one is equity. If the property has little to no equity, then we're going to try to use a subject to. All right. Why? Because we can create the equity as the tenant is paying down the mortgage over time. Our equity is increasing. All right. It's going up. So if we keep the property for 2-3 years and they're in, let's say, out of their 30-year mortgage, they're in year 15. Now we paying down some principal.
That's very important because sometimes you can buy a house that's worth the value of that house at that point in time, but you can make buku money over a 2-year span. So let's hypothetically say we are subject to the property and we're paying $1,000 a month in a mortgage payment. Let's just hypothetically say that all the 1,000 is going to the mortgage payment. So if my tenant paid $1,000 a month in 2 years, they paid $24,000. So I've created $24,000 of equity in this property. Let's hypothetically say that the value goes up $10,000 in 2 years. I've created another $10,000 in value. So I've created $34,000 in profit in equity just because I was able to hold the property younger and I understood the way numbers work. So it doesn't necessarily have to be to where you buy the property at a discount. I could buy the property for $100,000, but if it goes up $10,000 in 2 years and I get a $24,000 principal pay down, I've created $34,000 on the deal.
And if that alone isn't enough to make you do a deal, I don't know what is.
So I'm not even saying the property got any equity in it right now. I'm saying the property don't have no equity, and I've created money.
You've created the equity.
I ain't even gonna count the cash flow that I've got over time. I ain't even worried about that. I'm just talking about the sure ability to pay down the principal balance, the sure ability to get appreciation on a property over time.
All right. If the property has a lot of equity and a mortgage, then we offer a lease option because we can pay more for the property and it benefits the seller. So if the property already has 30,000-40,000, but the seller really just wants to get out of it, maybe they are paying 2 mortgages right now, maybe they just got married, maybe they are trying to downsize, whatever the situation is, we will pay them more for the property so that they get their money. Remember, it's always a win-win situation for everyone. Don't ever try to take advantage of the situation. Make it a win-win for everyone. So at that point, we'll take over it as the lease option so that they can make more money because they're gonna hold off from selling it right then Maybe you do a lease option for a year. Maybe you do a lease option for 6 months. Maybe you do it for 5 years, whatever those terms are, but make sure they're going to get paid from it.
And remember, they will get that principal pay down. So if we got a set amount for sale price and we are making the payments, they are getting the benefits of the principal pay down in that situation because it's a lease option. Mm-hmm. All right. So we want to, like I said, we want to make sure that we are creating win-win situations and everybody is happy in the transaction.
Absolutely. All right. So if a seller doesn't have a mortgage at all, then we're gonna say, let's do an owner finance situation where they become the bank and we're paying them every month until we're able to either it's a 30-year, 5-year, whatever those terms are, until we're able to finish those terms. One of our seller finance options we did with Eddie when he was just
seller finance options.
One of our owner finance options when we
you can't seller finance and options.
I tried to change it. One of our owner finance situations. There we go. That we did with Eddie. He was trying to get into the game where we owner financed him the duplex. And guess what? I think it was a 15-year. It probably was a 15-year owner finance.
We probably did a 15-year owner finance for him.
But after year 4, we sold it and made our money. We sold our note and made our money, and he continued until he paid it off. So just because it's 15 years doesn't mean it has to always stay for 15 years.
Agree.
You can do things.
You can sell notes and buy notes. So another training, another time, but just know that is an option.
Absolutely. All right. So factor 2 is money. If the property requires a lot of rehab or upfront money, then we like to offer them a subject to, because we want to have control of the property at that point. We want to have the ability, if we need a private money lender, if we need a gap funder, to be able to step in and they have a part of ownership on title. All right.
Yep. So if the property requires little to no money out of pocket, we'd like to offer a lease option. We will ask for owner financing in either situation if the seller's open. All right. So and keep in mind, we want to benefit the seller as much as possible. Mm-hmm. All right. So if it has little to no money out of pocket, what we like to do is, just hypothetically speaking, I don't know if you got this scenario in here. Hey, this property is basically moving and ready. Let's give the owner $5,000 as an option fee, and we'll just agree to a price. We'll turn around and put us a tenant buyer in the property and get that $5,000 back. So that way we have created a situation to where we have no money out of pocket. So we don't have a lot of money out of pocket. We don't mind doing a lease option because that benefits the seller.
All right. Y'all got that?
I ain't got no questions. So if we talking too fast or we ain't necessarily explaining what you want to know, give us some questions so we can help now. Y'all ain't asking no questions. They give me a little nerve. That means y'all ain't getting.
All right. Factor 3 is the seller comfort. We always try to go with an option that the seller feels the most comfortable with. So if the seller's not completely in when it comes to doing a subject to, then guess what? We won't do a subject to. We'll do whatever gets the job done. Whatever you want to do, whatever you need to do in this moment to get in the game, to do it, to be able to help them, do it. All right. Whatever gets the job done. That's the most important factor out of the 3 factors, is the seller's comfort level. Someone said, do y'all offer after your cash offer? Do you offer this after your cash offer?
Situations.
It kind of depends on the situation. If there's little to no equity where our cash offer doesn't make sense and it's not something that we know the seller will be like comfortable with, then no, we're going to offer a term offer, which is one of these things. And how much money do we have right now that we can invest? Like, all of those factors are important when structuring a deal. Am I out on too many deals right now, but this is a good one, but I want to make sure I capture it? Like, what can I do? Ideally, getting into deals with little to no money out of your pocket are the best deals you can possibly get in. Someone put, what are the normal terms for lease options?
Whatever you create.
It's negotiable.
It's negotiable.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you, when we are dispositioning or we're selling a property, our normal lease option terms are 6 months to a year. But when we are buying properties on the lease options, we normally do 5-year options. But that's just kind of our way.
And that's if the seller's okay with doing a 5 year. Maybe the seller's only okay. We've had a few where the seller was only okay with doing 6 months. So we knew we had to hurry up, get it on the market. And after those 6 months, well, before those 6 months. So whatever, it's gonna be a lot of thinking, a lot of analyzing, a lot of going back and forth in these type of deals because it's not a cookie cutter deal. It's it's not a cookie cutter deal whatsoever. You're gonna have to go to the drawing board several times and be okay with it because at the end of the day, you're doing it without using your credit. You're doing it without your DTI being affected. You're doing it without having to show money in the bank. Like you're doing it no matter what the situation is.
And the one nugget that I give you is whenever we do a lease option or a subject to, and we're buying the property, our plan is to be out of that property in 2 years max. Mm-hmm. So even if we get a 5-year option, our plan is to be out in 2 years. The quicker we can get the property into our name, the better. So even if we do a subject to deal, we're not looking to pay that mortgage all the way out. We're just looking to get into the property for low. We're looking to stabilize the property and exit the property in 2 years. Now that exit can be selling it, that exit can be refinancing, the exit can be doing different things, but we're not looking for long terms on these creative financing. We're looking to get in and get out. That's just our strategy because bankruptcies are real, foreclosures are real, and the quicker you can get it into your name and outright control the property, the better off you are.
And on the subject too, when it comes to foreclosures, if you are making those payments when you need to make them, then the foreclosure is not going to be affected unless they have other properties that's attached to it. But you'll find that out when you do your title search. Yeah. So someone said on a sub 2 deal, have you ever seen a mortgage company come back and exercise their due on clause sale? I have not seen it happen, but if it would happen, it's going to happen because payments are not being made or a bankruptcy may have been filed where they went back and pulled title. Their mortgage companies aren't doing title searches just for the fun of it. For one, their goal is to close more deals. So they're not looking at it from that aspect.
And understand, it's one of those things to where if you have a performing asset, there's nothing that tells you to go look into what's going on with this asset. It's doing good. You got 100 other assets on your books that's not doing good. That's where your focus is going to be. So if you're making those payments and everything is good, they're not going back and really looking for that. In my experience, I haven't seen a due on sales calls expressed.
Great questions, you guys. All right, let's talk about this subject to deal that we did. The seller wanted to get a new house. They had just moved into the area probably about 2 years before they wanted to sell it. It did not have enough equity for them to put it on the market. They knew that if they put it on the market, they were going to have to come to closing with a significant amount of money just to close, pay for realtor fees, seller's concession, everything. They were going to have to come out of pocket. So we purchased it for $184,653.24. Our rehab on it was $5,000, and we sold it for $230,000. We put a lease option tenant buyer in it. That lease option tenant buyer put down $40,000 in an option fee. Yes, $40,000 in an option fee. And we helped them so that they can be able to buy it. They bought it in less than 6 months. They bought it in 6 months. Was February to November. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So they bought it in 9 months. So what's 230? Go ahead and do the math.
I don't know what you're doing. What math are we do? I got my whole math I'm trying to do.
Our profit.
Get your calculator. 45,000.
We made 45,000 in this deal. All from not
and we made cash flow while they had the property.
Absolutely.
So the one thing that I will say is that the situation was so unique because let's hypothetically say if she sold this property for $200,000 and
The original seller.
if she had to pay realtor fees, that's $12,000. She had to fix the property up, which is probably another 10 to 15,000 because it wasn't necessarily top of the market sale price. That's 178. So if she would have sold this property on the open market, she would have been looking at potentially bringing $6,000-7,000, if not more, to closing. So to her, it was a benefit because she didn't want to have to spend $10,000 to repair it and still have to bring $6,000-7,000 to closing. So that's how we was able to step in and help the situation. So we did a subject to on this deal. And this was a quick one too.
All right. Someone says, how do you market for tenant buyers? The same way you market for renters. Tenant buyers are renters. So you're going to market on Zillow, apartments.com, Facebook Marketplace, everywhere. The same way you would as if you're looking for a renter. Okay, what happens on a lease option or subject to if the owner files bankruptcy or forecloses before your term is up? How do I protect myself? All right, so 2 questions. So let's break it down to what happens in a lease option if the owner files bankruptcy or foreclosure. Then you lose your option, but there's ways that you can record the option so that they give you the right to buy it before it goes into that bankruptcy or that foreclosure.
Foreclosure is a lot easier than bankruptcy. So those are 2 separate things. If they're going into foreclosure, then you can buy the property. You can exercise your option. So either one of them, you'll want to exercise your option to buy the property and get it from up under their name.
Which is the refinance or just outright selling it.
To just get from up under it and make your money. Mm-hmm. So if there is equity in the property, you can get from up under.
And the reason why I say a refinance is because for subject to, you have ownership.
Yeah.
Now with the bankruptcy, with the lease option, you don't have ownership. So you won't be able to refinance it that way. You would have to buy it.
Yeah. So you'll exercise your option to buy. So at that point, ideally you can find a private lender or you can find a partner to help in that situation.
Yeah. Did that answer both?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. This situation, this one we did as a lease option. The seller got married. They couldn't afford to keep both mortgages. The payments between their house and their old house, between the new house and their old house, so they needed to get up from under it. It had been listed on the market for, I want to say it was like 80,000, 85,000. It was listed on the MLS. They were getting showings, but no offers. You start to become real motivated. The longer it waits, the longer it sits, the more payments you have to make, the more power bills you have to pay, the more water bills you have to pay, the more cutting the grass you have to pay. An owner can get really motivated. So this owner was referred to us by a friend. They had monthly payments of $603. That's how much they were paying their lender. We gave them an option fee of $4,000. I think we did $2,000 up front and $2,000 on the back end. We were real creative with this one. Rehab, we spent $2,500. What we did for our $2,500 was really simple. We painted the cabinets in the half bath in the master. We added a backsplash in the kitchen, a towel, all white backsplash in the kitchen. We added chair rail molding and some crown molding in different spots.
We cleaned the yard up too.
We cleaned the yard up. I think we painted the white parts of the house, the siding parts of the house to make it pop. And we got a lease option tenant buyer that put down. Did she put down $2,500?
I think she put down 25. No, she put down 5,000.
She put down $5,000 as her option fee. We sold it for $125,000, and our profit was $44,700 in this.
So one of the cool things is when we took over the property. So the way we structured this even though it was a lease option, we structured it to where we could get the pay down, the principal pay down. So when we started, it was $76,000, but the tenant paid the mortgage down to $68,000. So that created money for us right there. Also, how we did the option fee was we gave her $1,000 up front and $3,000 on the back end. So we was all out of pocket $3,500 on this deal. When the tenant gave us $5,000, that was a profit of $1,500 from day one for us. And then we got the cash flow, and then we sold. So this was one of the ones where we had a lot of different things going on, but the foundation of it was creative financing. It was lease option. So we lease optioned the property, and then we turned around
and lease
optioned it back out.
All right. Any questions, you guys? Any questions? I saw the fire. I see the fire. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
But the one thing that I don't want to skip over is it was referral. So understand that we get deals one of three ways. We get deals from referrals, we get deals from wholesalers, and we get deals from real estate agents / MLS. Mm-hmm. So understand that because we are always telling people who we are and what we do, referrals come our way. Because we're always making offers to wholesalers, referrals come our way. Because we're always making relationship with real estate agents,
friends, everyone.
All that come our way. So you have to start having different conversations so that you can get those type of deals
and opportunities come your way. Yeah. Some of them came from when I was working with
Regions.
When I was working at Regions, they came because people knew what I was doing.
I would say both of those were Regions.
Yeah, but the other one I didn't know, even though she worked at Regions. Gotcha. I found her from a friend. Okay. Yeah.
So make sure you're having real estate money conversations with your friends if this is what you want to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Okay, I see a question. When marketing for tenant buyers online, do you include what the down payment is online? So it is really important to not call it a down payment, to call it an option fee, because it's not a down payment. It's an option to purchase if you're doing a lease option. Now, if you're doing an owner finance, then yes, it's an
Can you down payment. One of I'm going to put you on the spot.
I can't show it on this computer. Okay, all right. Don't do that.
So we'll all right. I just want to kind of show what it looks like because they might not understand. I'll take a screenshot and I'll probably drop one of our properties that we have on the market for lease option right now, so you can see what it looks like. We tell everything.
Absolutely,
like, it's not a secret of what's going on and what we're trying to do.
So somebody put, how soon can you sell a property that you buy at a foreclosure auction? So this isn't a property that the seller finance, the creative financing isn't one that you're buying at a foreclosure auction. This is something you're getting directly from the seller in these.
But to answer the question, you can sell a property immediately.
Yeah.
Like just because you buy it on foreclosure, you just turn right around and sell it.
You just want to make, go ahead.
Go.
You were going to say it. Insurance.
Just understand that there's a certain type of insurance that you have to have, and I forget what the name of it is. What's the name of it, Ashley?
Don't make me lie. But
a bond.
It's a foreclosure. It's
a right of redemption bond.
There we go.
You got to get a right of redemption bond on a property, so if you sell it, that and they come back, you have insurance that can protect you. Mm-hmm. So I could buy a foreclosure today and sell it next week, as long as I have that right of redemption bond. That kind of protects
how much I paid for it. All right.
Any other questions? Those were good ones. I feel a little better now. At first, I feel like y'all was quiet, and quiet means
you don't
understand,
or we're doing too much.
Yes, but the questions came in, so I feel a whole lot better.
So, was this helpful to you guys? Let us know if it was helpful. I'm sure that
what's one nugget that you got?
Yeah, what's one nugget or one deal that came back to your memory that you probably could have worked out?
Don't forget, if you're trying to get off the sideline, register for the masterclass. That's next week, Wednesday, free masterclass. So tap in. Don't forget, it's not going to be in the group, y'all. It's going to be a link-based training.
Yes, you're going to need to register in order to get access to the training.
All right. Somebody, I think you put another follow-up.
All right. Someone said most foreclosures I've talked to owe much, and the home needs rehab on top of it.
Yeah.
That's
So go.
that's very possible with foreclosure. So you want to get them before it's about to foreclose, and you want to get it as a subject to deal, and you want to redeem it so that it's not a foreclosure, and that way you have ownership to the property. You don't want to get it. Well, if you have to get it foreclosure, that's just another strategy that you can take. But if you want to do it without putting your credit at risk, if you want to do it without having to have a certain amount of money in the bank, you can do it on a subject to and help them so that they don't go into foreclosure.
The first thing I'll say is you're not talking to enough people. Um, Understand buying properties from sellers is a numbers game. And you got to talk to so many of them. You got to get so many no's. You got to come across so many properties that you don't see as deal to get one. The second thing is you're not being creative enough, because understand that if they owe too much for a cash offer,
Right.
but if you can do a terms offer and make it work, that opens up the possibility to more deals. So even if they in foreclosure, if you can be creative, that could also open the door for you. They might owe too much for a cash offer to where you can turn around and wholesale it, or you can turn around and flip it and make some money. But if you can be creative on the acquisition side, you can still potentially get a deal.
Absolutely. Someone put love the value. When will the replay be available? Immediately after. It'll be available immediately after. Someone else said very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Buying and selling foreclosures. Yes, I think that speaks to what you just said.
Yes.
And then someone said, how can you get it before foreclosure? Because you're having those conversations. They're going to come from referrals. They can come from a many number of places. When you start telling people what you're doing and how you can help people, then immediately their friend is going to pop to mind and say, you know what, my friend has a situation. Talking to agents, talking to realtors, they have clients who need to sell because they're about to face foreclosure. So guess what? That's how you can step in. You can help. Okay, how much do they need to stop the foreclosure? And seeing if that's possible. Okay, what can I do? What can I do to stop them from going in? And then just create the deal.
You went way off then. But also there are websites that tell you that people that's in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, you can pull lists from places like List Source or Prop Screen. They have lists of pre-foreclosure properties. So a lot of wholesalers will pull lists, and that will tell you, hey, this property is in pre-foreclosure. That's a potential deal. So that's kind of wholesaling. We don't really do wholesaling.
Right. But there's definitely ways that you can do it.
There's definitely public information that tells you these properties are in pre-foreclosure.
Risk of being in foreclosure. Ooh.
All right. Well, we got to go get our little one. She gets out of school. If you need anything, you want to talk about this, Father, you need somebody to help you put some of this into action, book a 15-minute call. We can talk about it, and let's make some deals happen, y'all.
Let's do it, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. If you are live and in person, if you are live in Birmingham, we are having a meetup tonight at Vulcan Park and Museum. We would love to see you there. Come on, and let's talk a little bit more about. We're going to actually be talking about foreclosures tonight. Yep, we're going to be talking about foreclosures tonight. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. We love you guys. Peace.